Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Well, it's afternoon somewhere. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to everyone out there in YouTube land. We have some casting news, and I have a few thoughts on the season finale of Open Range. So join me for this week's episode of Saturday Serial. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're more awake than I am because I almost missed my own show. That's all right because we're going to have some fun this morning. I want to put out the positive vibes. If you enjoy the show, you like what you hear, we have a PayPal link in the description, and every cent goes to continuing the show. So help us out with some coffee money. If you're in the chat, now's the time to sing out. I love you guys, and this show is for you. So enough of my yakking. We got plenty of casting news in Hollywood. We got a surprise this week. Some casting news for the second half of June, and we're going to talk about it. As some of you may know, I've been following the Amazon series Outer Range, starring Josh Brolin. And last Friday, they had their season finale, and boy, it was a doozy. Um, they definitely threw a lot at us, especially in that final hour. And I was on Troy Pacelli's show, Friday Night Last Call, and Troy, Netter's Network, Gaged Boomer, and I discussed the second half of the season. For those of you who are maybe not familiar with Outer Range, it's kind of like a cross between Yellowstone and Twin Peaks, with its own particular brand of insanity added to it. Overall, I liked it and recommend that people see it. But I'm buckle up, prepare for anything, because anything can and will happen. I'm not going to go into spoilers here. On Troy's show, we went into spoilers. Here, I'm not going to go into spoilers quite yet because I know that everybody in the audience maybe hasn't even heard of it because it did not have a huge online presence, at least not one that I saw, which is too bad because I think the show is actually worth seeing. We've been railing against remakes and reboots, and when we have something that is original, like an Outer Range, like the Northman, it's like it doesn't get the attention that it should. There's a show on Hulu called Candy that I'm hearing some good things about. That had 5 episodes that ran over the last week. Um, and I'm not going to go off on a rant here. We're getting to the show, but I do want to say that we've been hungering for original entertainment. And ladies and gentlemen, now's the time to go out and support that original entertainment and that original. Maybe I should shut off the sound on my phone, eh? And we've been, I mean, I've been saying for a long time, support independent media. Yeah. And now is absolutely the time to start doing that. And Outer Range is a place to start. Josh Brolin and Lily Taylor, Imogen Poots, they star. They're fantastic. The entire cast is great. Um, I don't want to go into spoilers here, and I don't know really how to describe the show without going into spoilers, except to say it's a real mind bender. And there is time travel that's involved. There are a lot of science fiction elements in this. Um, uh, Josh Brolin plays a rancher. He's living in Wyoming. He finds this. He goes out looking for missing cattle, and he basically finds a time portal in one of his pastures. And this mysterious woman shows up on his land who knows more about him than she should. And it goes from there. And it's a fantastic show. It's like reading a good book. It's like I said. It's like if Taylor Sheridan and David Lynch got together and made a television show. And it's quirky as hell. I did think one of the episodes, episode 6, did have a bit of a pacing issue. However, stick with it. Don't turn it off. Keep going because it does go somewhere. Um, and it hits some present day topics, but how it approaches them is pretty interesting. Um, there are people who will consider certain things about the show woke. It's not woke. It's commenting on the woke. Yeah, because there is a character uh, who uses certain woke tropes to their advantage, and they get called on it. Eventually, get called on it. Um, which is one of the reasons why I'm recommending the show. The writing in this is pretty good. It doesn't go where you think it's going to go, and when you write certain things off as oh, that's been done before, or I disagree politically with this or that. Stick with it because it's about people in this very extraordinary situation. This family trying to survive when this kind of sci-fi craziness starts happening to them. It's a pretty good show, and I might not be making too much sense when I describe it. That's because I'm trying not to give it away for people who haven't seen it. But it's on Amazon Prime, and I am recommending it. And it's called Outer Range, and it's like I said, it's a Yellowstone meets Twin Peaks with its own brand of craziness, and I haven't seen anything quite like it. It's pretty good. Um, for those of you who have seen the entire show, go over to Troy Pacelli's channel to the last couple of the Friday Night Last Call episodes where we discussed it. And yeah, and go over and sub to Troy's channel. He's had a pretty cool channel over there, and I've become something of a semi-regular. So, and I was on camera last night, so my webcam was finally working. So, if you want to get an idea of kind of what I look like, um, I've been told I look like David Lynch or Christian Slater through the years. So, be the judge. But we had a lot of fun. Troy, aged boomer, Netters, and myself. All right, we're going to start the show proper, and we're going to go over to Rotten Tomatoes. The weekly catch up, written by Mr. Greg Dean Smits of Rotten Tomatoes, and he's got the weekly news for us. So let's see. Christopher Walken joins Dune Part 2 in a pivotal role. And more movie news. This is Spinal Tap and A Simple Favor get sequels. Crazy Rich Asians gets a spin-off. And new projects for Emily Blunt, Dan Stevens, Anne Hathaway, and Jessica Chastain, and Adam Driver. Okay, so let's move on. And we got this week's top story. Christopher Walken to reign as Dune Part 2's Emperor Shaddam IV. Okay, gotta be honest, he would not have been my first choice, but all right, let's see. If a movie fan watched David Lynch's 1984 film Dune just before seeing last year's Dune from director Denis Villeneuve, they might notice that there are three missing characters of note as Villeneuve prepares to film Dune Part 2, set to be released October 20th next year. A couple of these roles have since been cast, like Florence Pugh as Princess Irulan, and Elvis star Austin Butler stepping into Sting's shoes as Phaedra Harkonnen. Before this week, that meant that the third major character, not yet cast for Dune Part 2, was the Emperor Shaddam IV, who's referenced in Villeneuve's first film but never seen. Christopher Walken has officially joined the cast of Dune Part 2 in that role, taking over the character played in 1984 by the late Jose Ferrer. Walken, Pugh, and Butler will join the returning ensemble cast that includes Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Javier Bardem, and Rebecca Ferguson, as the story picks up where it first left off. Dune Part 2 is currently one of just 3 films that are scheduled for October 2023, along with an untitled new entry in the Exorcist franchise and Paw Patrol: The Mighty Movie, both scheduled for Friday, October 13th, 2023. HBO Max is also developing a spin-off series called Dune: The Sisterhood, which Villeneuve is not expected to direct, about the mysterious Bene Gesserit order. Okay, so chat. It is official. Christopher Walken will be playing Emperor Shaddam IV in Dune Part 2. Gotta admit, he was not my first choice. Personally, I might have gone with I had Mads Mikkelsen in mind personally. But hey, it's Christopher Walken. I do not need to scroll through this man's credits. He is a legend, and I'm curious to see what he brings to it. I really, really do. I mean, I was going to see Dune anyway, and I'm going to see him even more now just to see what he does. Um, it's just a shame that we're going to have to wait another year and a half in order to see it. You know, it's always been my contention that they should have filmed the movie back to back to release back to back. However, you know, for whatever reason, the powers that be at the studio that produced the film decided not to go that way. And up to a point, I think I can understand that. They wanted to see how the movie was going to do, and yeah, it made its money back. It got, I think, what, 6 Oscars? Was nominated for Best Picture. And, hey, it worked out. So okay, chat. Casting news for Dune Part 2. What do you think? Let me know. And don't forget, we also have a comment section. If you have any thoughts, any questions, or if you've seen the replay and you just want to tell me how I'm doing here on the show, um, let me know. Um, I love reading the comment section, so yeah, drop me a line. We're going to move on to our other top headlines. Well, you can turn this one up to 11. Spinal Tap sequel in the works for 2024. And it seems we have someone with us in the chat. And friend, she was in the chat last night when I was on Troy Pastelli's show, so I'm glad that she's here to join us this morning. I know she has a very busy schedule. We also have Man Squats in the chat. And he says the Spinal Tap sequel. Does the budget go to 11? Um, don't know. I would I would certainly think so. I loved the original Spinal Tap. It's one of my favorite all-time comedies, and everyone, from what I understand, is returning. So let's go to the story and let's see what it says. As producers continue to announce projects that will be on sale next week at the Cannes Film Festival, there was at least one genuine surprise in the mix. Rob Reiner and Castle Rock Entertainment have confirmed that filming will soon start on a sequel to Reiner's 1984 comedy classic and rock mockumentary comedy This Is Spinal Tap. Reiner, director of Stand By Me and The Princess Bride, will again direct and co-star as filmmaker Marty DiBergi. The returning 3 stars, Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer. Spinal Tap 2 is already scheduled for release on March 19th, 2024. Though, oddly, that is a Tuesday, which is 10 days before Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. set to be released March 29th of that same year. The third film in that animated trilogy. The Spinal Tap 2 premise will revolve around the death of band manager Ian Faith, played by the late Tony Hendra, who leaves behind a contract that states that Spinal Tap owes Faith one final concert, forcing the band to reunite despite decades of bad blood between them. Rob Reiner has also said that he expects there to be several cameos from real musicians who are fans of the Spinal Tap, but no names have been confirmed yet. The original film had a number of famous comic actors in supporting roles that could possibly return for the sequel, like Ed Begley Jr. Okay, not so sure about him given what happens to his character, but okay. Dana Carvey, Billy Crystal, Fran Drescher, Angelica Houston, and Paul Schaefer. It's not yet known if movie theaters will be required to install new sound systems that can be turned up to 11. All right. Man Scott says, "We have the only Stonehenge in danger of being crushed by a dwarf." Yes, that Stonehenge scene was hilarious. Rob Reiner is really trying to tap into that nostalgia. Yeah, let's hope. I mean, they've had 40 years of behind the scenes rock and roll stories to you know to tap into. Pardon the pun. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man. We did recently lose Rick Parnell, who played drummer Mick Shrimpton, who exploded on stage. This is uh, one of two Spinal Tap drummers to do so. Um, who knows? Will it happen a third time? Man Squatch says Spinal Tap explored genres. I would like to see them explore grunge, hip hop, and dubstep. I gotta think that they will. you know, yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they've got planned because the original movie was, if I remember correctly, largely improvised. So I'm curious to see what they come up with and what this quote unquote decades of bad blood will be. Um, and uh, and will Janine be involved? uh, it's I'm looking forward to this. I really am. Ordinarily, I would say the original is a great movie. Leave it alone. But we're getting everyone back for this, which tells me we could be in for something special. All right, we're going to move on to our next story. Scream 4 Final Girl, Hayden Panettiere to return for Scream 6. Last year's requel, Scream, the fifth film in the franchise, featured both a new cast of young victims, survivors, and possible, no spoilers here, killers, along with a few returning stars from previous films like Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, Heather Matarazzo, and Marley Shelton. Going into this week, Scream 6, which is already scheduled for March 31st, 2023, had just one known returning cast member in Courtney Cox, who vaguely raved about the screenplay this week. But several more Scream 6 actors have now been announced. When Scream 2022 picked up the story, one of the mysteries from Scream 4 was left unanswered. Left unanswered was the fate of Kirby Reed, unless you spotted this Easter egg, played by Hayden Panettiere, who appeared to have been killed in Scream 4. Panettiere will indeed return in Scream 6 as Kirby Reed, although it's not yet known how substantial her role will be. The new central characters appear to be the two sets of siblings who survived last year's Scream. The sisters, played by Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera, and the twins and Mindy Meek's kids, played by Jason Gooding and Jasmine Savoy Brown. With all four actors set to return, Scream 6 will follow those four friends and siblings as they, quote, leave Woodsboro behind in an attempt to start a fresh chapter, unquote. Scream 6 will again be directed by the team of Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett, who also directed Devil's Due and Ready or Not. Okay. I did not see the most recent Scream film. I'm going to try and get it in here in the near future. So I can't speak to it as to whether or not it was any good. I don't know who the killer is. I do know of one major character death from the previous movies. I do now know that at least these four characters survived, and they are now returning. So good for them. Jenna Ortega, I believe, was also in the movie X that came out recently, which I also have yet to see, so I have to catch up with that. I know Melissa Barrera from In the Heights. She was the female lead. Those of you who are fans of the show know that I highly recommend In the Heights. It didn't get a fair shake, and I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go into that again here on the show. But for those of you who have not yet seen In the Heights, I believe it's still on HBO Max, and it's now out on Blu-ray and 4K. So I highly recommend it. All right. Man Squatch says she still has a career. I haven't heard about her since she was on that show where she played the unkillable girl who was killed off screen in the relaunch series. Oh, that's too bad. They did not save the cheerleader or save the world in the relaunch series. I take it. Yeah. Hayden's still been around. I think she's mostly focused on taking care of her daughter. But yeah, apparently she is back now for part 6 of Scream. Because in the fourth movie, they did leave it kind of vague as to what happened to her character. But now that they have survive, at least for now, she's going to be back. And all right. First off, has anyone in the chat seen the most recent Scream from earlier in the year? And without spoilers, let me know what you thought of the movie, because I'm curious to see what people thought. In the meantime, we are going to move right along to our next story. Dan Stevens is the first to join Godzilla vs. Kong 2. All right. Even though it will soon be since the season 2 finale of Downton Abbey first aired in 2012, many fans still consider the surprise departure of series star Dan Stevens as one of the show's most shocking moments. Many fans will. I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, it's early. I boomered it. To his credit, Stevens has kept very busy since then, working on movies like Colossal, his live action Beauties, and Netflix's Eurovision Song Contest. Also, in that time, he was in a movie called A Walk Among the Tombstones with Liam Neeson. And if you've never seen that, and you're a fan of sort of gritty 70s style comedies, give that one a give that one a look. That's very good, very intense, very good. Uh, One of the first films Stevens starred in after Downton Abbey was the 2014 thriller The Guest, directed by Adam Wingard, whose most recent film was last year's Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla vs. Kong was one of the Warner Brothers films last year that also streamed day and date with its theatrical release, which may have explained the film's relatively disappointing box office opening of just 31 million in the midst of the pandemic. Despite those numbers, Warner Brothers hasn't given up on their Godzilla franchise just yet, with a Godzilla vs. Kong sequel scheduled to start filming this summer in Australia. Godzilla vs. Kong 2 will also be a reunion project as the new lead, and the first to join the cast is Dan Stevens, while Wingard will return to direct. It is not yet known if any of the surviving cast from Godzilla vs. Kong, like Alexander Skarsgård, Millie Bobby Brown, Kyle Chandler, or Brian Tyree Henry, will be returning for the sequel. Okay, so chat. Dan Stevens reuniting with Adam Wingard for the Godzilla vs. Kong sequel. Okay. And Scott says of our previous story concerning Scream, I still think of Scream as the newfangled slasher series. Yeah, so do I. So do I. I'm with you on that one. Um, Everything that was old is new again. It would seem. Um, so yeah, man, Squatch. Well, I got you here. Any thoughts on Dan Stevens joining the Godzilla versus Kong sequel? Um, any thoughts on Downton Abbey or any thoughts at all? Really, I would appreciate it. Anybody in the chat, and I know we've got a couple of people lurking, and that's perfectly fine. Um, that's why we have the comment section at the end of that you can go to at the end of the show, or at this point in the show. That's perfectly fine. Um, okay. I'm not familiar with his work. I've never seen Downton Abbey, but I'm curious to see what they can do with Godzilla versus Kong too. Yeah, because spoiler alert for Godzilla versus Kong, uh, they did both survive this round, and there's something of what? What's up, buddy? My cat decided to join the show. So, yeah, you want to see Godzilla versus Kong? Maybe we can watch that later, huh? All right. Where was I? As I was saying, Godzilla versus Kong um, ended in something of a truce between the two characters. They've decided that they can survive with the two titans, two kings, as it were. Uh, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they do for a sequel. And Dan Stevens has also made something of a name for himself of late, playing villains. He can do it. I'm kind of curious if he's coming back as a villain. That would be cool to see. Each time they make a new American Godzilla movie, they get closer and closer to Japanese style. They do. They do. I mean, they definitely had one foot in the older films with the new one. Maybe this time they can make a movie that focuses on the monsters instead of the people. I got to agree with you there. Um, the the human characters in this iteration of the MonsterVerse haven't really impressed. I think they're the worst part of the movies. Focusing on the human characters hasn't really worked. They haven't balanced out the monsters and the human characters. Uh, my chief complaint, which I'm sure most people who've seen the movie would probably agree with me on, in the 2014 Godzilla, you put all of your emotion behind Bryan Cranston's character, and you're with him, and you're rooting for him to succeed, and then spoiler alert, his character dies very early in that movie, and I don't think the movie ever really recovered from that. You know, he was, I think, the best written of the human characters out of all of the films that we've had so far. Um, so when that's devastating to that movie. I think that movie loses something once he's out of the picture. Ken Watanabe's character, who's this iteration of Dr. Serizawa, uh, I miss him not being there anymore. Um, but yeah, I mean, hopefully they'll write the human characters better this time around, um, or at least not focus on them as much. That's a good example. First Godzilla movie was almost no Godzilla, and focused on the bait and switch. Yeah, yeah. There's a super cut of all of the scenes in the 2014 Godzilla in which Godzilla actually appears. And I think it's under 5 minutes. And it's a 2 hour and 15-minute movie. You know, that has, you have a 2 hour and 15-minute Godzilla movie that has 5 minutes of Godzilla in it. And I'm not, I'm not saying that Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen weren't good in the movie, because I think they are. It's not that that movie doesn't have individual scenes that work. That Halo jump sequence is fantastic. I think it's the best part of the movie. But again, it's just a few minutes, and it's a movie that I was ultimately a little disappointed by. Then they go to the second one with the monsters. It gets a lot closer to the Japanese style, using the cheaper looking sets. Yeah, they did. They did. Again, I was not too crazy about Godzilla King of the Monsters. Um, again, I didn't like the human characters. But we got Mothra, and we got Rodan, we got Ghidorah. So I was happy as far as that was concerned. Seriously, it's called Godzilla, not the shit that gets stuck between Godzilla's nose. Yeah, yeah. Um, Godzilla. Godzilla got nerfed. He got nerfed in his own movie. I got to agree there. All right. Before we get on to our next story, which is going to be about the Crazy Rich Asian spinoff, I'd like to remind you that we do have a PayPal account up. And if you go to the link in the description, take you to that PayPal link. Every cent goes to keeping the show going. And so if you like what you see, like what you hear, uh, those of you who are with us live or watching in the replay, go to our PayPal link and help us bring some good vibes to you. To fill time, they should reboot Godzilla versus Bambi. Yeah. Didn't end very well for Bambi. All right. In the meantime, we're going to switch gears a little bit here and go to the spinoff of Crazy Rich Asians. Many moviegoers may know Gemma Chan best for her two roles in MCU movies. First as the Kree villain Minerva in Captain Marvel, and then as Circe in last year's Eternals. Oh, and this certified fresh score, I'm not buying that. Sorry. Before either of those films, Chan also had a standout role in the romantic comedy Crazy Rich Asians. A sequel to that film is still in development, but its release may be a few years away now, as director John M. Chu is busy working on the two movies based on the Broadway musical Wicked, starring Ariana Grande. Possibly to bridge that gap, Warner Brothers is now developing a Crazy Rich Asian spinoff that will focus on the romance between the Astrid and Charlie characters, played by Gemma Chan and Harry Shum Jr. The new project got its start following a dynamite pitch to Warner Brothers by screenwriter Jason Kim, who worked with Warner Brothers HBO on 10 episodes of Girls and 2 episodes of Barry. Kim is now working on the Crazy Rich Asians spinoff, which will be at least partially adapted from Kevin Kwan's sequel novel, China Rich Girlfriend, which features Astrid and Charlie. All right, so Crazy Rich Asians is getting a spinoff, and we're going to get more of Astrid and Charlie. I did see uh, Crazy Rich Asians. I liked it. I was very surprised by it. The third act kind of lost me a little bit. Uh, because they used the second act breakup trope, and I didn't quite buy it that time around. But it didn't hurt the movie too much. So if you haven't seen Crazy Rich Asians, I recommend it. It's genuinely a lot of fun. I was very surprised by it. Haven't read the books, so I can't speak to them. Man Squatch in the chat says, is this still going through now that Discovery owns WB? It appears to still be going. Crazy Rich Asians made some bank, so it's getting a sequel, and the incoming administration, led of course by David Zaslav, they are going back to that old standby. We're here to make money. And let's see. My thinking is that if Discovery does an exit, it probably got us out of it. Yeah. The original movie is based off of a series of popular books. The first movie, which, like I said, I recommend, did very well in the box office. So it is a potential franchise. It could make money for WB if they stick to their guns, because there was nothing particularly controversial. It wasn't a movie that talked down to its audience at all. So yeah, I would give this a watch. I hope that this spin-off movie will do well. The film, one of the film's closing scenes is the meeting between Astrid and Charlie, and I understand that Charlie is a very popular character in the books. So I'd like to see where the movie goes with him. What? My cat's being loud, folks. What's up, buddy? Okay. So okay. That's is that a for or an against? Oh, now he's quiet. All right. Without any further ado, we're going to move on to our next story. Adam Driver to lead Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. All right. If you've been following Megalopolis, Francis Ford Coppola has been trying to get this movie made for a number of years, and he's trying to secure his legacy, and he's putting a lot of his own money into getting this movie made. So I'm happy that he's finally getting the chance. He's added Adam Driver to the cast. So let's see. Over the 20 plus years that Francis Ford Coppola has been trying to get his epic futuristic drama Megalopolis produced, dozens of actors have been considered, including back in the 2000s, Nicolas Cage, his cousin, Russell Crowe, Robert De Niro, Paul Newman, and more recently, actors like Oscar Isaac, Jessica Lange, and Zendaya. With Coppola independently franchising the just under $100 million budget with his own money, Megalopolis is finally expected to start filming in late 2022. And we now have what appears to be the final official cast list, or at least the first 5 cast members. Adam Driver has landed the lead role. Natalie Emanuel is the female lead, and 3 other key roles have gone to Forrest Whitaker, Jon Voight, and Lawrence Fishburne, who incidentally got his start at age 14 in Coppola's Apocalypse Now. Francis Ford Coppola describes Megalopolis as a reflection of, quote, how the fate of Rome haunts a modern world unable to solve its own social problems. In this epic story of political ambition, genius, and conflicted love. All right. Well, seems like Coppola's magnum opus is finally going to get off the ground here, man. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm curious to see what they've come up with. They've kept the story very hush hush, even though it's been out there. You know, as the story is for a couple of decades now. I'm really looking forward to this. Um, Coppola doing a big budget film again uh, after after a string of independently made films. Hold on. You want to see the movie too, buddy? What? You're being very loud this morning. Get up here. There you go. Hmm? You want to be in the show too? My cat again, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We woke you up, huh? All right. Well, I can't take you to a movie. We got to watch movies here, buddy. All right. So, chat, if I haven't lost all of you yet, let me know. Megalopolis is finally getting off the ground after 20 years. Let me know what you think. We're going to move we're going to move on to our next story. I wonder if cats think that talking on a microphone makes the karaoke. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Um, all right. Excuse me. Take a moment for yourselves. Take a drink. Get a bite to eat. Smoke them if you got them. All right. Back to the show. Frequent Seth Rogen director takes on 1990 set Dirty Dancing sequel. In addition to movies like the Zomcom Warm Bodies, the Sundance hit Darkness, and the Amy Schumer comedy Snatch, director Jonathan Levine is best known for his projects starring Seth Rogen, like Long Shot and 50-50. Levine has also avoided sequels or franchises, but that will soon change, as he has been hired to direct the long in development sequel to the nostalgic 1987 musical hit Dirty Dancing. Jennifer Grey will reprise her role as Baby in the sequel, which will return to the Catskills the setting of the original film, but will be 40 years later in the 1990s, with hip hop songs of the 90s expected to be used prominently alongside familiar hits from the first movie. Exact details of the coming of age sequel aren't yet known, except that Baby's life and another woman's intertwine at Kellerman's Lodge, including whether the sequel will address the decline of the Catskills as a resort area by the 1990s. Depressing images of the abandoned resorts frequently appear on social media. Okay. Uh, we're getting a decades later sequel. Man Squatch says, "Have we migrated into 1990s era nostalgia?" It would certainly seem so. Uh, I don't know how to feel about this one, to be honest. Not having Patrick Swayze, who left us far too soon, not having him there is kind of like walking around with one boot off. You know, I just I and I don't know. I know nothing about the movie past what's in the story here. Uh, this one's up in the air for me. Uh, you know, I also I don't know who past fans of the original are really going to be interested. You know, I maybe that'll be enough. I don't know. There was a sequel, if I remember correctly. Patrick Swayze had a cameo in that movie called it was called the Havana Nights. I didn't see it, so I can't speak to it. Uh, it certainly didn't get the reviews that the original did. I remember that for sure. But I don't know. Maybe the fact that Jennifer Grey is coming back for this after all this time, maybe we can take that as a good sign. I'd be kind of curious to see where her character is 40 years later. I don't know. I this is one that's up. Like I said, this is up in the air for me. I can't see where this movie would go, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe they're counting on you know, maybe they're counting on the nostalgia. You know, like Mansquatch says. Mansquatch also says maybe she will fight a Balrog and become Jennifer the White, Betty's successor. Hey, why not? Maybe I've mixed up my fandoms quite all right. You know, um, having a Balrog show up midway through, that'll be a wrinkle. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, maybe that'll work. Maybe that'll work. All right, and we have more sequel news. Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively to return for A Simple Favor sequel. Now I've got time in your life playing as Gandalf the Balrog. Yeah. All right. First off, let's just admire the picture. Good morning, ladies. Anyway, all right, sorry. Moving on. Uh, produced on a budget of just 20 million, the 2018 comic thriller seemed to come out of nowhere and surprised box office pundits with a domestic take of nearly 100 million. It's not quite so surprising then that the film is officially getting a sequel. which stars Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively, both signed to reprise their roles for returning director Paul Feig. Screenwriter Jessica Tharzer, who adapted the first film from the novel by Darcy Bell, is now working on adapting the sequel. In the first film, Anna Kendrick played a single mom and vlogger who befriends a successful neighbor, played by Blake Lively, who then disappears, leading Kendrick's character to investigate the mystery, but it's unclear what the premise of the sequel might be. The sequel to A Simple Favor is being produced by Lionsgate in conjunction with Amazon Studios. Okay. Again, another sequel, again to a movie I didn't see. Paul Feig, not a fan. Gotta be honest. Uh, not a fan. Uh, and as I remember correctly, A Simple Favor did get fairly fairly good reviews. Kind of good to decent reviews. But I gotta wonder, did Paul Feig, did he sacrifice whatever goodwill he might have had left with fans on the altar of Ghostbusters 2016? And I don't think anybody's going to go see this. I really don't. Um, you know, I you know I don't think anybody really clamored for a sequel for A Simple Favor. Man Squad says, who directed the first one? Feig directed the first one. Yeah. I'm trying to remember if this movie came out first, or if Ghostbusters was before that. I don't remember I don't remember for sure. Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that anybody remembers that he directed a Simple Favor, because it's kind of out of his wheelhouse. It's more of a thriller that has some comedy in it. This doesn't seem like the kind of movie that Ghostbusters fans would be interested in seeing. The target audience might not care that we feed up to them. Yeah, that's also true. Like I you know like I said, he did direct the first movie. People might not know that he directed it because it's not a movie that's normally in his wheelhouse. He's more known for comedies and not thrillers. So outside of people who are aware of Ghostbusters 2016 and everything that sort of came along with that movie, they might not know or care. Yeah, it's like you say, man. The target audience might not care. Yeah, you know. Again, we'll see. We'll have to see. Um, I do like Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively though. So yeah, I might have to give this one a look at some point. Maybe review it for the channel or for my channel. And to remind everyone, my own channel, Deleted Scenes, is now up and running. The link to my channel is in the chat. I recently hit 60 subs, and I'd really like to hit 100 in the next month or so. So if you're in the chat or you're watching the replay and you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and give my channel a look. I'd really appreciate it. I've got reviews up now for The Northman and Doctor Strange 2, and there will be more. There will be more coming up, and don't forget to hit the the bell icon. And if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, please do so and show Matt some love. He worked really hard on building this channel up to where it is, and hopefully, once he is back up and running on his end, he will be able to join us again. I am posting the link. Talk amongst yourselves. I have one of those phones that comes with a stylus, and I just broke the stylus. So please bear with me. Post a link. Working on it. Okay, my phone's being a little finicky. All right, you should have the link up right now in the chat to my channel, Deleted Scenes, and enjoy, because there is new content coming up. And as soon as I figure out how to do live streams, you'll see me. You're going to see me a little bit more. And Man Squatch, I know you weren't with me. You weren't with me in the chat earlier in the show. I was on Troy Pacelli's show last night, and we were talking about the series Outer Range. So if you or anybody else is interested in seeing me on camera for once, you can go over to his channel and check out that show. In fact, why don't I put Troy's channel link in the chat as well? Just bear with me for a moment. I was on a Friday night last call with Troy and Age Boomer and Netter's Network. I've been watching Outer Range. That show is getting gnarly. It is. I'll be watching the new episodes after I get back from my errands. Yes, I watched the last 3 last night before the show myself. Someone called Outer Range kind of like Dark, and they're really right. I've been hearing that people are comparing Outer Range to Dark. I haven't seen Dark, but I'm definitely going to watch it now. But I called last week's twist on episode 1. Yeah. Before you watch the shows that I did on Troy's channel about it, watch the show in its entirety first, because we did go into some pretty heavy spoilers. That's the link to Troy's channel. Please give him your love. Let him know that I sent you, because we are a fellowship here, and he's brought a lot of subs my way, and I'm going to pay it forward. Dark is a German series about time travel and nuclear power plants. Yeah, yeah. I've ever since I brought up Outer Range on both this show and on Troy's show, I've been hearing a lot about Dark, so I'm definitely going to watch that show now. I start my errands in 20 minutes. I'll be watching the show and then checking out Troy's stream after that. If you have not finished watching Outer Range, I would say maybe watch the show first, because we do go into the first show that we did, which was 3 weeks ago. We talked about the first 4 episodes, and last night's show we talked about the second half, the last 4, including heavy spoilers on the finale. So if you want to stay away from spoilers, I would say watch the show first and then watch Troy's stream. But yeah, because we did go into spoilers. But yeah, Outer Range, I recommend it. Episode 6, I thought, did get a little slow, but if you can get past that, I would. I otherwise recommend the show. Yep, Aaron's Outer Range then stream. Yep, best way to do it. Best way to do it. And let me know, because I know we follow each other on Twitter. Let me know what you when you finally do finish the show. Let me know what you think of it. You can DM me. We're going to move on. We do have a couple of more stories that we're going to cover before the show is over. Man, Swatch, if you do have to leave us, have a good day. Have fun. Take care of whatever you have to take care of, and then watch the rest of Outer Range, because I think you're going to like it. I'll try to remember, but I get distracted easily. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand. I'm heading out in 15 minutes for my weekend chores. Okay, no problem. We got a couple of more stories here, and then I'm going to do a wrap up, because here in about 15 minutes or so, our friend Brandon, the anime guy, has his weekly show, and I'm going to drop that link in the chat as well. He has his brand new show coming up, like I said, at the top of the hour. So I'm going to get done real quick here, because I don't want to miss that either. I shared the stream and posted the link in a few Discords. Well, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I'm new to Discord, and also to Gilded, so I'm trying to navigate those apps, because I'm a bit of a boomer. So I'm surprised I've got this show up and running right now. You know, when Matt first showed me StreamYards, I'm sure he was probably probably regretting it. Okay, maybe I should not have brought this guy in to host. But I'm getting used to StreamYards and the Gilded and the Discord, and speaking to you fine people, because As I've stated earlier in previous episodes, public speaking is not something that I am used to. But yeah, let me get the link out for Brandon's show. Share that link. So yeah, man, Squatch, if you got to go, man, thanks for joining us, and I hope you have a great day and that you get everything that you need to done. You're off to a solid start, no dead air, solid content, good presentation. Once you get your comfort level up, it'll get easier. Yeah, because I was really uh, when Matt suggested hosting the show in his absence. Uh, I was certainly nervous. I do not like those earlier episodes that I hosted solo. Um, one thing that I do want to do is start bringing people on to maybe co-host with me. Uh, I had Chase Fox on a couple of weeks ago, and that went pretty well. So maybe we'll have him back at some point, um, even though it would be in I'm not really sure where Norway is time wise. I think it would be very early morning because he said he stayed up all night so he could be on the show with me, which I really do appreciate. He didn't have to do that. So okay, moving on to our next story. Emily Blunt to star in Harry Potter director's Pain Hustlers. Director David Yates has directed so many movies based on the works of J.K. Rowling. The last four Harry Potter films and all three Fantastic Beasts films. That it is perhaps now difficult to remember that he actually got his start with movies like Sex Traffic, Indigo, and The Cafe. Yates also directed The Legend of Tarzan between the two franchises. Yates appears ready to get back to his more grounded roots with a conspiracy drama about the pharmaceutical industry called Pain Hustlers, with Emily Blunt now attached to star. Blunt will play a quote high school dropout who lands a job with a failing pharmaceutical startup in a Florida strip mall, who then catapults the company into the high life and finds herself at the center of a criminal conspiracy with deadly consequences. Filming of Pain Hustlers will start August 22nd after Blunt wraps filming of Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. Okay. It's 5:47 p.m. in Norway. Cool. Okay. I'll have to remember that for next time. So, okay. Emily Blunt has her next film lined up. We've covered Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer a number of times here on the show, with the ever growing uh, list of actors who are joining the cast of that film. Uh, but I'm a fan of Emily Blunt. It's always good to see her. This movie looks pretty interesting. Um, I'm also something of a fan of David Yates. So we'll see. He's returning to his, as the story says, his more grounded roots. We'll have to keep our eye out on this one and see if there's any further casting news. Anne Hathaway and Jessica Chastain share Mother's Instinct. Amidst the dozens of movies being announced this week in advance of next week's Cannes film market, one of the standout titles is a psychological thriller called Mother's Instinct, starring Academy Award winners Jessica Chastain and Anne Hathaway. Yates did good with the Harry Potter films. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I agree. He's one of the better directors out there right now. Okay. Mother's Instinct will be an English language remake of the 2018 Belgian thriller Rules. And that film's director, Olivier Massé de Passe, will also be directing the film when it begins production May 25th. Set in the 1960s, Mother's Instinct will tell the stories of two housewives who are best friends and neighbors until a tragic incident shatters the perfect harmony of their lives. Guilt, suspicion, and paranoia begin to unravel their sisterly bond, and the darker side of the maternal instinct emerges. The U.S. rights to Mother's Instinct have been secured by the indie distributor Neon, which also has a streaming deal with Hulu. All right. So, Mother's Instinct. I'm kind of curious as to whether this movie is going to be day and date or not, or if it's going to be a 45-day window. It doesn't say here in the here in the story. But I'm curious about this one. This could be interesting. So we'll have to keep our. This is another one we're going to have to keep an eye out for. And if this movie is any good, could this mean another pair of Oscar nominations for Chastain and Hathaway? We'll see. All right. Well, that was the last story of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, and Man Squad says to head out now. Okay, no worries, man. We're about to wrap up the show here. I want to thank you and everyone who was in the chat. We had Ann Bryant with us earlier. I do know that we had some people lurking in the chat there for a while. I want to thank them for showing up, and everybody who was who's watching us on the delay. Um I really do appreciate it. You guys are why I'm here, and I'm I plan to be back. All right. Uh, on a rather somber note, we uh, we recently here this past Sunday we lost one of my favorite all-time actors with the passing of Fred Ward, who, of course, many of you will know from Tremors, The Right Stuff, which my friend Jedi Bill just did a recent rewatch of, Southern Comfort, Naked Gun 33 and a third, uh, many many movies over the last 40 or so years, and I'm really going to miss that man. This this one hit me pretty hard, much like the passing of Rutger Hauer. These were two guys that I grew up watching, and they will be very sorely missed. Yeah, so that's got me feeling a little down in the dumps. But I hope that the rest of the show brought you some good vibes. I am going to be back. Unless Matt says you're fired, get out. No. I do plan to be back, and I hope that you enjoyed the show this week. And I'm going to dedicate this episode to the late great Fred Ward, and he will be missed. And I think I'm going to take the time this weekend to go back and watch a couple of his movies. All right, I want to remind everyone that our friend Brandon, the anime guy, has a show starting here very shortly, here in the next few minutes. So I'm going to leave here and go straight over there and you'll find me there in the chat. I'm going to be appearing later on today on the Pulp Culture Minefield. I am also going to be on Rambling Canucks karaoke Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And hopefully I can stay awake long enough for Jedi Bill's after show, which, FYI, I actually dozed off in the middle of the show. Do not do a double shift and then stay up for two late night karaoke streams. Especially if you haven't touched the narcolepsy like I do. So go over there and support their channels. And as you may have noticed from the banner, we do have a PayPal. We do have a PayPal up now. So go ahead and hit the if you would like to support the show, go to the PayPal and send us some tip money for coffee, and that'll help keep the show going. Once again, I want to thank everyone who joined me here today, and this one is for you. So, Nigel, what did you think of the show?
Nice.
Thank you. And once again, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land, I am Deleted Scenes, and this has been Saturday Serial. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you in the chat.